Nkawathekile vivi bafowethu.
So you already had ventilation.coza.
Yeah. Shout out to Skipan in the
and
house.
then that kind of fizzled out and went away. And then you came out with SlikourOnLife. So tell us a little bit about how you came to SlikourOnLife and what you learned from ventilation.coza that helped you with SlikourOnLife.
I definitely never learned anything from ventilation Koza because it was by default. When things happen in your life and you are not even consciously putting in any effort. It's like best rapper. We became the biggest group. We sold rap. It's like it's a consistent things. You can't be woke. I never learned anything. But one thing I learned though is that I was too famous to have a website. I was running around. Younger was literally like losing footage and all that shit, like bad footage, not editing, taking 2 months to edit a 1 minute video. Them niggas be crazy. You know what I mean? It felt like it was tiring to do that thing, you know? But I just always, look, and I just want to give a shout out, what people, because we had a very interesting conversation. Let's not erase history. Because now we're getting into SlikourOnLife. And I noticed this a week or two ago. The ecosystem that I'm building with brands, music, platform. We just built our music studio now, which we're gonna open up for free for artists, but like brands will pay for it to do whatever. This whole ecosystem I've built is something that there's a bunch of guys who are already forward thinking doing this in 2006, 7, 8. And I only thought about it like 2 weeks ago when I was like, nobody doing this shit. Outrageous.
Rage.co.za.
Yo, rage.co.za, Zeno, Maria McCloy, Kutlwano, those guys were so ahead of their time, you know? And it's almost like if they had built what I'm building or were doing what I'm doing now, it could have been so much more bigger. But I always go, great ideas also need to marry great timing. Some of us, I always go, imagine, and how I literally relate that is that if you think about your grandparents, whatever, and you think about the power that they had, like these ideas to come sit here, to have a, I know you're going to be like, you'll understand this. You have a woman, like, and I'm saying, in the 60s, 70s, you have a woman who's called a man to come stand, and that man must come here and talk. The woman has summoned me to come talk. In the 60s, you could have had the power to do that, but the world said, you can't. Not only because of racism, because of sexism, because of everything. We are so fortunate to be in the time we are in, because even our ideas when we were free, we're not ready to be freed. I got ideas today that I know that like I'm free, but they're not ready to be freed. I tell guys that if you only believe guys who are doing something for more than 3 years, because the same thing for more than 3 years, whether you are out there with the camera shooting, if people are doing things for more than 3 years, and I'll shout out to Kipan also because they've been around for so long, ups and downs, you only know how people are committed to something if they married to their idea forever. And that's why it's easy for me to come to this, because I know you from the days at the Star when you're an intern. This is who you are, you know what I mean? This is what you do. You are literally like, now consciously, because when you as an intern, you were like, okay, cool, I'm a writer, I studied, you were getting in the writing world. Now you are consciously formalizing it in your perspective. And that's why, I'll always support like people who can. That's the next level of Vogue versus like younger kids who are, which is okay because we were all there, who are doing things because they got potential. When you
Right.
formalize it, you go, boom, that's the opportunity.
Cool. But I'm going to bring that back to how you then decide on SlikourOnLife. Because you said you were too famous to do ventilation dots, right?
I was thinking that there's greener pastures on the other side. Obviously, I wanted to get out of music. Like I said, I knew I can't work in this industry because it's dishonest, and even fans don't have minds of their own. And it's almost like when you are in a space where you know you always have to be tough because the conditions ask you to be tough. But meanwhile, you are kind. Meanwhile, you're generous. We wouldn't be where we are if I wasn't none of those things. If I wasn't understanding, if I wasn't patient, if I wasn't humble when I'm told that like that shit is whack, I wouldn't be here. So you are all these qualities, but you're in an industry where the conditions force you to be the opposite of that every day. So I went to the marketing world, and then when I was in the marketing world as an employee at TVWA Open Field, and I was a partner also in those agencies, I said, yo, this world that I've been thinking that is not the world. I said, but I can't get back into music and make songs. I'm going back to the people that I'm saying, whether it's fans, industry, brands, I don't know. So I said, remember when you used to collect music in your bedroom and you have to have it in boxes and you'd literally share an album. Back in the day, this rap music wasn't accessible. It was like finding the Yeezy. That's how it was when you literally and you found a tape with the hiss. It's like it was limited. You couldn't find rap music. You had to. I used to, when white kids would be like, my hobby is this, my hobby is that. I don't have a fucking hobby. But my hobby was collecting rap music. So I literally used to collect rap music, and when I collected it, I'd literally share it with guys who were in the same space. So then our conversations would be like, that's how I got Smacks into it, because I shared the music, and that's how we kind of saw who we're gonna be a group with, So the same thing kind of happened now with SlikourOnLife. I said, why don't you, oh, that was international, why don't you actually write about this guy here is coming up, or this Casper guy, or this Ricky Rick guy, or this KO. Well, KO from Tear Gas, but that nigga is trying to do something solo. Okay, who's telling these stories? Because I know that they're gonna get in the same industry I walked in. That's gonna give them like 30 seconds, if 5 minutes, if you're lucky. And I said, with that being said, this is why we keep loving Beyonce, we keep loving Jay-Z, because we don't have enough platforms that tell our stories. So I said, how about I know these guys aren't big, but let me actually start telling these stories, uploading their music on the website, because I'm actually interested in them. I'm sure someone else is. And besides, I'm so invested in this culture. It just excites me that, it's existing even without me contributing. Oh, shit. After all, I'm not needed. But geez, I want to tell those stories. I'm not a journalist, but shit, we get a camera out, go do this. And that's really the heart of where SlikourOnLife came. It came from how about this greener pastures? I can't come back and rap, but I see that these guys are making this thing work. I want to tell that story. I want them to be the superstars, And that's how the SlikourOnLife thing started.
Dope. So obviously, SlikourOnLife has different facets, right? You have the balcony interview, there's certain features. But I think one of the dope things is it doesn't matter how famous you are, you can still get your music on the site, right? Whether it's through downloads or an article or whatever. But it also means then that the quality control is something we need to look at, because your name is Slikour, your name is on the site. And if you're putting somebody on the site, you're effectively co-signing them. But if they suck, should they still be on the site? How do you navigate that?
Lebo always said to me, and Smacks now always speaks, he said, just don't call it your name. Just don't have your name involved. That's how everything we got involved in. There's things that we involved in with Smacks that, like, we said, okay, as long as our name's not there. Because it goes, it's gonna go. And my thing was that I challenged myself. I said, I'm gonna call it the name, but I don't want it to be owned by me. So if I've got a rider, I stopped riding and my presence is not felt. So someone goes, I don't see you anymore on the site. Besides being busy, it's the way it should be, because it shouldn't be about my cosign. It should be about a platform, a BBC, Channel O, BET. It should be a platform, right? To a point where I just do interviews because I'm trying to set it up for the time. Right now, a big thing for us is trying to get money for the different shows we have, and like it's coming together so I can step back and let guys who do this shit do it. But I'm just filling in right now because I can't afford to pay everybody, so I'm filling in right now, So the idea with that is that I created a streets page where anyone can put their shit on. And then there's a page where we curate. So whether people go, they're gonna call like whoever's riding on the platform, whether whoever's worked with us, whether they're gonna call them, it's intentional. Because that means I've done something right, because people always used to call me, So you gotta shift the power. Because if you're the one that always has the power, you never grow. So you gotta let go and shift the power intentionally, with the hopes that where you're shifting the power, it will be used for the positivity and the intention that you want, right? Because if I'm always in the middle of it, it's gonna be exactly what you're saying. So the objective of building our businesses is that, of creating wealth, of creating money, is that we gotta shift power. You have to be the start. Like that's what Steve Jobs did when he started, blah, blah. So investors came in and power shifted. Our work, and that's how you also nurture and make people better and make people see who they really are. Because when people start going, oh, it's Slikkur's thing, but we know that person's the boss, the authority, or the one that will literally post it. All of a sudden, because someone wants to walk there, you just the name, but they know they gotta speak to someone else. So the point of progressive growth is shifting your power. You gotta know where your place is. Your place is, I gotta go, I put a chair, but I'm not gonna make you drink. I can't do this. Hey, you gotta drink it too. It gotta get to a point where you walk and you go, I'm gonna just pick it up and drink myself. The power's shifted, you just put it there. So we try and there's a problem with a lot of us in what we do. We try put the water, make you drink it, make you go accompany to your toilet to piss it, and then we want to go, yeah, I'm the boss. My whole movement, from even the people that I work with, and I'm hard on the people that I work with, my team, most of it is ran by women deliberately. My business is ran by women. I say my business is ran by women deliberately, not by me, because I shift the power, right? I shift the power to them. You gotta learn this. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. But but you have to do that. Because let me tell you one thing. I sold rap music. I did deals with clicks. I walked in clicks and did my own deals. I did deals. I am so far ahead with the shit. I'm just teaching you the small shit. Because once I can give you that power, you can leave my work environment and go, oh, that was my power. And someone else will give you more than what I could give you.
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
so dope. So we are officially over our time. So we're going to open up for the last time. Any questions? Doesn't have to be about SlikourOnLife. Anything that you want to know. And if you've already asked the question, can we give other people a chance? Slikour will stick around for 5 minutes after, and then you can ask him a question personally. But is there anyone?
My question is, in all the industries you've been on, in terms of gender, are we from like the squatter till where you at now? Are we becoming more gender solid, or patriarchy still the bigger piece of this humble pie?
Sure. That's one hell of an English question. I answer you like this. I move with energy, you know? Ain't white people I ain't gonna fuck with. The white people that I'ma trust more than black people, right? The guys that I ain't gonna fuck with, the woman I'ma trust more than I'ma trust guys. You know, for me it's about life is not about race, color. The progressive species is the species that knows that these guys are trying to fix the world, and that's gonna come in any package. So you need to pay attention to the people that are trying to fix the world. For me, I believe that's the progressive species. People that are gonna make a change, people who are trying to fix themselves. Like I say, I'm trying to fix, that's why I'm quiet. But I spoke for like 2 weeks. I saw that shit. I still need to polish myself. I watched my, hey, nigga, you need to shut up. So you gotta literally like find the species that is trying to make a difference. Because in the end, you are no better than the lion. You're no better than the elephant. You're no better than the ant. You are part of this world. You're part of nature. So don't you come here and start, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying, don't come here and categorize yourself on this, I'm that. Just fuck with the energy that's literally trying to make a difference in the world. If it talks to you. Hence, I don't get myself involved in politics because the energy is not trying to change my world, which is the creator's world. They want to leverage it, but they don't want to change it. Because if they do, they should have spoken to me a long time ago. I'm just saying.
I'm going to take two more questions, then we definitely have to close. I know you have a lot of questions, but you asked the question already, so ask him after.
I wrote my question down. I feel like you do more for kids that are into the culture and music than the Department of Arts and Culture, for example. And as kids, we want to work for SlikourOnLife now and not Capitec or and be bankers, for an example. Because we're creatives and this is the culture we love and we consume. You are the reference points now. You are the reference point now. How do we go about doing that?
Thanks for the question, man, and I appreciate the words. The reason why we where we are as a country from arts and culture is because people don't want to shift the power. And for me, I'm shifting the power with my only resource, the only resource I have, which is nothing. And even when I got investment in my business, I literally worked at a loss, for 2 years, and I needed to make it profitable. I still need to make the business work. So money plays a big part in it, and at times, I've got a big vision, but I start at home with the small things, incremental change, and incremental change. I've got a global vision. This year, really, for me was to really do some start that. But I know that, like I was saying to the cat from Andile from Skipan, it's time for me to hold on now. It's time for me to be aggressive now. It's time for me to have conviction now, to have more faith than I ever had when I started right now. Because it's time for the swing. The swing is coming for us to tell our own stories and for us to own the platforms that tell those stories and for us to open doors for creatives to come in who will be led by people who are not trying to by people who are shifting the power, and I try my best to shift the power. I'm not saying I got it figured out, but we need more me's who've got the power and who've got the money, and and who trying to change the world for what it is. You know, our politicians are trying to change the world, and that's why I'm going to go back to politics. As long as politics is driven by race, is driven by assets, and it's not driven by people who want to change, because that's the highest value or resource that you have, we're gonna have a problem. So I appreciate everything you said, because that's what I believe. But it's a big dream. It's a big dream, and I'd be lying to say I got to figure it out. But I'm still struggling to figure it out. You know, to get there.
Cool. One last question.
It's a very important question. Sure, Slick. I just want to know that how when you went a lot, like in your career, you've seen a lot of like contracts and deals. So I just want to know that when you guys got your first deal as a squatter camp, how was that set up? Like, was it like individuals deals or like squatter camp deals? And also, I want to know that with that being said, compare that to how deals are set up today for the new generation artists, because South African labels are kind of like known for giving out deals that are not like, satisfactory for the artist. Yeah.
So we had a deal for the group, Squatter Camp, all seven of us. It was one deal. And then when I talked about the Bozza story, that's when we were doing a label deal. And so Bozza would be signed to the label, and the label will be signed to the major, you know. So that was the deal. But I think, we also need to be very careful with speaking about I mean, I know I said it on my interview with Ducci Coke Dope. I said, I'm gonna drop a single and he's gonna sign me, and I ain't gonna sign to any major label. Fuck that. I know that's just me talking my shit. That's me. I need to get in my pocket. But with that being said, though, we need to be careful of also color of painting labels in one color if we're not reading if we haven't read the contract ourselves, if we haven't got the right legal advice. We need to be careful of being a speculative nation instead of an investigative nation where we go find out the facts ourselves, because a speculative nation is a nation of consumption, is a nation that's driven by Twitter, is a nation that's driven by social media and by politics. The more we start investigating, the more powerful we'll become as a people.
Cool. So
I gave two questions, Helen. Why are you gonna be like this?
you're lucky I like you. We're literally going to do two more questions.
You mentioned something about you moving from hip hop to an advertising agency. I'm in the deep house scene, and I'm breaking into the advertising space as well. So I wanted to find out, how did you actually break into that, find your space in it? Because I'm finding that advertising, marketing, and whatnot, it's run by old white people. They really don't get black people, and that is a space which I find myself in, wanting to tell the black stories within that space. How did you get to tell that story when you started working for these agencies?
I mean, like I said, I struggled when I was inside the agency. I had to create my own thing, and the thing is that when I talk about like YouTube, Twitter, we use those platforms. I'm just saying is that YouTube and Twitter are going to sell themselves better than I can sell my page on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's almost like they still a master, however you see it. But once you build your own platform, you build your own data, and you literally like kind of have your own audience. You can break it down. No one can sell it like you can sell it. So my only reason why I say that, I don't focus on the social platforms per se, is because I'll be sitting in a meeting with a big brand, and I'll be going, my YouTube page has got so many views and so many likes and so many this and so many shares, and they go, oh shit, dope, cool, man, cool. Then the guy from YouTube will come in and go, so I've got this page, I got the SlikourOnLife page, I got the Helen Herimbi page, I got the JR page, I got the Questa page, and then he starts selling the whole group. Who are they going to give the money to? To the guy who's literally showing them value across the board, right? So you got to start your own thing, even if it's small. SlikourOnLife on digital is Paza, you know. I need to know what I am, so I know how to address my conversations. I'm a spaza, and everything else is a mall. So sometimes I go to the mall so you can see me and you can come to my spaza. I advertise at the mall, and then you go, oh, that's the spaza. Oh, they got more products in the spaza. That's how the digital landscape is. You got to know your place also. But if you are playing inside the mall, you have a space in the mall, and you're only like literally gonna be there if they put you in the front of the mall, if there's traffic in your mall, or if you buy, you got to pay your rent. If you buy to be seen, you know what I mean? So all those things are things. But these platforms are good because they're good for us to learn on how to being a mall. It's like the Nike store inside, like inside a mall, and then when you go into the concept store, like in a random place. So we like the concept store of the bigger ecosystem.
And speaking of the mall, please hit subscribe on my YouTube page. Do that.
Subscribe on the page. Subscribe in the mall.
One last question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Solo, and I've been using the SlikourOnLife website for probably 2 years now, just to release my music and everything. I've been getting good reviews and everything. But then now, my question is, how do I get to the balcony? Not for only me, for only the other upcoming artists. I know you interview everyone that's already made it in the game and everyone, but then I don't know, this is an opinion or something, but then I think you should also cater for young and upcoming artists,
Yeah. From a resource perspective and cutting and editing, we are in a space where it's a generation that's using data. The difference between me and any other television platform or radio is that whenever you get on my platform or consume any of my content, if you're not on a Wi-Fi spot, you're paying. So if I have a 15 or 20-minute interview with a person that no one knows and there's a resource that's been used, the reality is, how are we going to be able to justify that, like the data usage? So my feedback to everybody that asks me is that I always go, build your social traction. Show me your social traction. There's some things where we find guys and we go, oh shit, this guy is already like getting so much social love and engagement. They need this platform besides just being outside. We look at the mall. At the mall, we see how many people are stalking you. That's what the data does. And then we go, people would want to watch it. I'll use an example. The kid that just won, I always forget his name. Because I even told him that his name is whack, But Touchline, I love him. He's a dope kid. He's from the East End, without a doubt. His energy is amazing. But Touchline, I literally had an interview because I saw he was babbling, he was coming, but I couldn't put him in a long ass interview. You know what I mean? So you gotta be considerate of the fact that we don't say no because we like, it's because we know that people probably won't watch a 20-minute, 25-minute interview because we've checked the data. Another example, Big Zulu, we've never done anything with Big Zulu, right? But he's been on our number one since December, most downloaded, right? He did a spotlight, and that spotlight is approaching 10,000. All the content we've put out with Big Zulu, literally is people are fucking interested in him. So that says for us, shit, we need to get Big Zulu quick for a balcony. And we are going to do that. And we're going to even we were thinking of doing a cover with because now we're doing a whole cover thing, the kids are always the kids are going to force you to do some shit. And you're like, I don't have money for it. But nonetheless, we were going to have Youngster. We were thinking about getting Youngster, but then I called up Youngster. Y'all got to watch that Youngster interview. It's going to be an interesting black and colored conversation. We are really talking some real shit there on the side. I'm just punting that if you don't mind. But what we did with Big Zulu, we've said, okay, maybe we got to do a cover for Big Zulu. So we were like, let's just do an interview in JNJ, But when we saw the traction, we moved from saying, okay, Youngster's already getting all the coverage anyway. He's already doing the covers. We're going to be repeating. But damn, Big Zulu, no one is actually checking for him like that. and no one, unless it's the guys that know, but like he's fucking up the game, and people are consciously spending their data on Big Zulu. They are spending data on Big Zulu. So we gotta literally create something with him. And that's how we make our decisions. It's never like a thing. Unless you have got a fucking dope song and we're like, yo, I know, people must hear this, you know?
Don't worry, Solo. I'm also waiting for my balcony interview. Nah, I'm there with you. But
We'll look
Slikour,
at the data of this interview.
thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And we know that it's far from over. And over here on Imbali Live, we always give you literal flowers as well. But I think I also want to say that we salute you for consistently being yourself, whether it gets you into trouble or not. And I think yours is a very important story within hip hop. And if anyone's going to tell it, you should tell it yourself. So thank you so much for telling us your story.
Thank you. You're far too kind. I just want to close it up and say,
How you closing my show? Go ahead.
before you close, before you do that, I'm used to my shit, right? Yeah. I just want to close it up and say, it's a beautiful struggle. I'm struggling still. I'm struggling to be a business person. I'm struggling to do relevant content. I'm struggling to understand the game. I'm struggling to have people that work for me, and report to me. I'm struggling to be a cool dad. I'm a cool dad, but I'm struggling to be a husband. But, you got to choose your struggles, and you got to make sure that they're beautiful. So ain't nothing is easy, and no matter what you guys think, my peers, the rap guys, are sitting in places where rappers are making, they could be turning over 20 million per annum. I'm sitting in conversations from a business perspective where the guys I'm trying to aspire to are the young rappers probably trying to make 20 million per annum. That's what's big for him. I'm sitting in conversations with businesses where one client is giving them $500 million just for 12 months, That's one client, They lose a deal for 80 million and they go, that wasn't even a lot of money. I'm sitting in that thing, and when I say, I got a small business, we've made some money, but it ain't nothing like what the guys who are really making the money are. So I'm at the bottom. It's just that because there's not enough on this level of bottom, because black people struggle by default. It looks like it's the top, or it looks like it's I've gotten somewhere far. But it's because by default we all come from a long struggle that we kind of have been taught to suppress in our heads. You know what you come from your family, your life, your community, your hood, your parents, uncles that have been discouraging you. You know what you come from, So with that being said, don't think it's pretty. It's a struggle, but it's a beautiful struggle. And Moses' struggle was beautiful because he was getting people together to go to the promised land. Never forget that. It's a struggle. That's how I keep going. That it ain't, if I wait for it to be pretty, I'm either part of the flock that Moses is trying to get through and I'm just hoping. But I'd rather be in the struggle and be like Moses, but not throw the 10 commandments, because Jesus don't have the glue to stick that shit together. So, because it wasn't invented then, so it's the truth. So what I'm trying to say to you guys, it looks pretty, but it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle, just to be sane, but choose your struggles. That's it.
No doubt. And now to close it for real. Thank you to Zola and the Hive team for consistently also making sure that Imbali Live is dope. Thank you to the mixologist, to the sound desk, to everybody who showed up. I really appreciate it. The next Imbali Live is on the 4th of May, and it's with probably the dopest producer of the last 20 years. So please make sure you come through again, and make sure you bring your friends. Everything is on helenherimbi.co.za. That's where you can RSVP. Thank you so much, guys.